The city of Kethsora had stood for 3,000 years under the purple sky of Aeon Prime. Its towers were made of crystal that caught the light and turned it into colors that had no names. The people who lived there were called the Velari. They were tall and thin, with skin that glowed softly like moonlight. They had 4 arms instead of 2, and their eyes were large and kind. The Velari had never known war. They were teachers and healers and makers of beautiful things. They had no army because they had never needed one. Their world was far from the busy parts of the galaxy, and no one bothered them. They liked it that way. Elder Vorith was old even by Velari standards. She had lived for 200 years and had seen many strange things. But she had never seen anything like the ball of fire that fell from the sky that morning. She was standing on the observation tower when it happened. The thing came down fast, trailing smoke and flame. It hit the ground beyond the eastern hills with a sound like thunder. The ground shook, and birds flew up from the trees in great clouds. "Send the healers," Vorith said to her assistant. "Whatever is in that thing will need help." The rescue team took 3 hours to reach the crash site. What they found was a ship, but not like any ship they had seen before. It was small and broken, cracked open like an egg that had fallen from a nest. Fire still burned in places, and strange sounds came from inside. Healer Toreth was the first to go in. She was brave and curious, and she wanted to see what had fallen from the stars. She climbed through the broken hull and found herself in a small room full of broken machines and flickering lights. And there, lying in the middle of it all, was a creature. It was small, much smaller than a Velari. It had only 2 arms and 2 legs, and its skin was a strange pink color that did not glow at all. There was hair on its head, the color of dry grass. Its clothes were torn and burned, and there was blood everywhere. "What is it?" asked Nareth, the youngest healer. She had followed Toreth inside and was staring at the creature with wide eyes. "I do not know," Toreth said. She pulled out her scanner and ran it over the creature's body. "It is alive, but barely. It has many broken bones. It is bleeding inside. It has burns on its skin. By all reason, it should be dead. But it is not dead," Nareth said. Double quotes, "No, it is not." The creature's eyes opened. They were blue like deep water. It looked at Toreth and Nareth with fear and confusion. It opened its mouth and made sounds, but the sounds were not words the Velari could understand. "It is trying to talk to us," Nareth said. "Yes." Toreth knelt down beside the creature. She did not touch it, but she made her voice soft and gentle. "We are here to help you. We will not hurt you." The creature seemed to understand her tone, if not her words. Some of the fear left its eyes. It reached out with one of its 2 hands and grabbed Toreth's arm. Its grip was weak, but there was something in that grip. Something desperate. Something hopeful. "Bring it to the city," Toreth said. "We will try to save it." The healers carried the creature back to Kethsora on a stretcher made from branches and cloth. The journey took many hours, and several times they thought the creature would die. But each time, it held on. It fought to stay alive with a strength that surprised them all. When they reached the city, people came out to see. They had never seen anything like this creature before. Some were afraid. Some were curious. Children pointed and whispered to each other. Vorith was waiting at the healing hall. She looked at the creature for a long time without speaking. Then she turned to Toreth. "What is it?" "I have been searching our records," Toreth said. "I believe it is a human." A human. Vorith had heard that word before. Travelers sometimes spoke of humans in their stories. They were a strange species from a distant part of the galaxy. They were known for many things. They were known for being tough and hard to kill. They were known for being clever and good at solving problems. They were also known for violence. Humans fought wars. Humans killed each other. Humans were dangerous. Should we be afraid? Nareth asked. Vorith looked at the creature on the stretcher. It was so small, so broken, so helpless. Whatever humans were known for, this one was not dangerous now. This one was dying. We should be healers, Vorith said. That is what we are. Bring it inside. They worked on the human for many days. Their medicine was made for Valari bodies, not human bodies. They had to guess and experiment. They made mistakes. But they also learned. The human's name, they discovered, was Danny Cole. He had a small device with him that could translate languages, and once they figured out how to use it, they could talk to him. He was weak and often asleep, but when he was awake, he told them things. He was a pilot. He flew a small ship that explored new parts of space. His job was to find new worlds and study them. It was supposed to be safe work. It was supposed to be boring, but then the Korath found him. The Korath? Vorith asked. She was sitting beside Danny's bed. She visited him every day. Bad people, Danny said. His voice was rough and tired. Very bad. They have a big empire. They take what they want. They hurt anyone who gets in their way. Why did they attack you? I was in the wrong place. They were doing something secret. Something bad. They did not want anyone to know. So they tried to kill me. Danny closed his eyes. Talking was hard for him. Every word cost him strength. I fought back, he said. I am not a soldier, but I fought. I destroyed 3 of their ships before they got me. Then I ran. I jumped into hyperspace without knowing where I was going. I just wanted to get away. And you came here. Yes, my ship was dying. Your world was the closest safe place. He opened his eyes and looked at Vorith. I am sorry. I did not mean to bring trouble to your door. Vorith did not understand all of his words, but she understood enough. This human had been hunted. He had fought for his life. He had run until he could run no more. And now he was here, broken and bleeding, in a city that had never known violence. You did not bring trouble, she said. You brought yourself. And yourself is welcome here. Danny stared at her. His blue eyes filled water. The Valari did not cry the way humans did, but Vorith understood what it meant. Thank you, Danny said. You saved my life. You did not have to. You do not even know me. You were dying, Vorith said simply. What else would we do? Danny was quiet for a long time. Then he said something that Vorith did not fully understand. Where I come from, he said, a lot of people would have let me die. Or worse, Vorith thought about this. She thought about what kind of place would make someone expect cruelty instead of kindness. She thought about what kind of life Danny Cole must have lived. Then your place is wrong, she said, and ours is right. Rest now, Danny Cole. You are safe here. Danny closed his eyes. For the first time since his ship fell from the sky, he slept without fear. But far away, in the darkness between the stars, 3 great ships were moving. The Korath had not forgotten Danny Cole. They had tracked him across the galaxy. They knew where he was hiding, and they were coming. They had 12 days before the Korath arrived. 12 days to prepare a city that had never known violence for a war against one of the most dangerous empires in the galaxy. Danny did not sleep much during those days. He could not afford to. Every hour mattered. Every minute counted. He pushed himself hard, harder than his healing body wanted, but he did not care. These people had chosen to die for him. The least he could do was give them a chance to live. Show me everything, he told the engineers on the first day. Every machine, every tool, every piece of equipment you have. We are going to turn this city into a fortress. The Valari had no weapons. They had never needed them. But they had other things. They had knowledge. They had technology. They had 3,000 years of wisdom about their world and how it worked. Danny sat with the engineers for 3 days without rest. He asked questions. He drew pictures in the dirt. He argued and explained and tested ideas. When he finally came out, his eyes were red from lack of sleep, but he was smiling. "The crystal," he said, holding up a piece of the material that the city was built from. "You use it for everything. Buildings, tools, art. But it has another property, does it not? It vibrates." Engineer Kethis nodded slowly. "Yes, at certain sounds, the crystal shakes. We use this for our communication systems." "What happens if you make the sound higher?" "Much higher." Kethis thought about it. "We have never tried. It would take a lot of energy. The Korath ships use shields to protect themselves," Danny explained. "Those shields work by blocking certain kinds of energy, but they cannot block everything. If we can make the crystal vibrate at just the right sound, we might be able to break through their shields. We might be able to hurt their ships from the ground." "Might," Kethis said. "You are not sure?" "No, I am not sure. But it is the best idea I have." Danny put his hand on the engineer's shoulder. "Trust me. Humans have won impossible fights before with nothing but maybe and hope and the refusal to give up." The work began right away. Crystal towers were built on the hills around the city. Power lines were connected from every part of Kethsora, bringing energy to the new machines. Every person who could help did help. Old and young, healer and builder, they all worked together. While the engineers built the crystal weapons, Danny trained fighters. This was harder. The Valari had never hurt anyone before. The idea of violence was strange to them. Some could not do it. They tried, but their hands would not obey. Danny did not force them. He let them go and thanked them for trying, but others learned. They were not natural soldiers, but they were determined. They practiced with the simple weapons Danny made from pieces of his ship and from tools in the city. They learned how to hide and how to attack from places the enemy could not see. They learned how to work together. Nareth was one of the first to volunteer. Danny tried to talk her out of it. "You are a healer," he said. "Your job is to save lives, not take them." "My job is to protect my people," Nareth said. Her voice was calm but firm. "Right now, that means learning to fight." Danny looked at her for a long moment. Then he nodded. "All right. But remember something. The goal is not to win. Not at first. The goal is to survive. Make them work for every step. Make them pay for every inch of ground. If we can hold out long enough, maybe something will change. Maybe help will come. Maybe they will give up. And if they do not give up..." Danny did not have an answer for that. On the 10th day, the crystal weapons were ready. They tested them against a rock on a distant hill. The rock exploded into dust. "It works," Kethis said. He sounded amazed. "By our ancestors, it actually works." "One problem solved," Danny said. "Now we just have to hope it works on car ships." That night, Danny climbed to the top of the observation tower. The purple sky was dark, and the stars were bright. Somewhere out there, 3 warships were getting closer. In 2 days, they would arrive. In 2 days, everything would change. Vareth found him there, standing alone in the cold. "You are afraid," she said. It was not a question. "Very afraid," Danny admitted. "I have been scared before, but never like this. Before, I was only risking my own life. Now I am risking all of yours. You did not ask us to fight." "No, but I brought this on you. If I had died in that crash, none of this would be happening. Your city would be safe. Your people would be peaceful. Everything would be normal." Vareth was quiet for a while. Then she spoke. "When I was young, my teacher told me something. She said that the universe is big and cold and does not care about us. She said we are like small lights in an endless darkness. I believed her for many years. What changed? I got older. I learned things. I saw things. Vorith turned to look at Danny. Her eyes were glowing softly in the dark. I learned that the darkness is not endless. Every small light makes it smaller. Every act of kindness pushes it back. And when small lights come together, they become something bigger. They become fire. Danny did not know what to say. You are a light, Danny Cole, Vorith continued. We are lights. And tomorrow, we will be fire. Whatever happens, we will face it together. That is what matters. Danny felt something warm in his chest. It was not hope exactly. It was something else. It was the feeling of not being alone. Thank you, he said, for everything. On the 11th day, they made final preparations. The crystal weapons were charged and ready. The fighters were in position. The civilians who could not fight were hidden in caves beneath the city. Everything that could be done had been done. Danny gathered the fighters in the Great Hall. There were only about 50 of them. 50 people against an army. It seemed impossible. I am not going to lie to you, Danny said. Our chances are not good. The Korath are strong. They have better weapons. They have more soldiers. They have been fighting wars for longer than your city has existed. He paused. He looked at their faces. They were scared. Of course they were scared. But they were also determined. But here's the thing about chances, Danny continued. Chances do not matter if you do not give up. History is full of battles where the small side won. Not because they were stronger. Not because they were smarter. But because they refused to quit. They kept fighting when there was no reason to hope. They found a way when there was no way to find. He raised his voice. Tomorrow, the Korath will come. They will expect you to surrender. They will expect you to be weak. They will expect an easy victory. He smiled. It was a hard smile, full of teeth. Let us show them how wrong they are. A cheer went up from the hall. It was not loud. These people were not soldiers, and they did not know how to cheer like soldiers. But it was real. It was honest. It came from the heart. That night, no one slept. They waited in their positions, watching the sky. They held their weapons and thought about the people they loved. They prayed to whatever gods they believed in, and when the sun rose on the 12th day, they saw them. 3 dark shapes in the purple sky, getting bigger every minute. The Korath had arrived. The storm had begun. 6 weeks passed. Danny Cole grew stronger every day. The Valari had never healed a human before, but they learned fast. They changed their medicine. They made new tools. They watched Danny carefully and adjusted their treatment when something did not work. It was hard, but they did not give up. And Danny did not give up either. He fought to heal the same way he had fought to survive. Every day he pushed himself a little harder. Every day he got a little better. The people of Kethsora grew to know him. At first, they watched him from a distance. He was strange to them. He was small and had only 2 arms. His skin did not glow. He made loud sounds when he laughed. But slowly, they came closer. They talked to him. They asked him questions. They learned that he was not so different from them after all. Danny was good with his hands. When he learned that the city's water machines were old and breaking down, he asked to see them. The engineers were surprised. What could a human know about Valari technology? But Danny studied the machines for 3 days. He took them apart and put them back together. He used pieces from his broken ship to fix the parts that did not work. When he was done, the water machines worked better than they had in 100 years. How did you do that? Asked Engineer Kethis. He had been working on those machines his whole life and had never found a solution. I just looked at the problem a different way, Danny said. Humans are good at that. We see something broken and we think, how can I fix it? We do not accept that things must stay the way they are. Kethis thought about this for a long time. The Valari were smart, but they were also careful. They did not like to change things. They did not like to take risks. Maybe that was why they had never fixed the water machines. They had accepted that the machines were old, and that old things break. Danny did not accept anything. He also told stories. This was new to the Valari. They had songs without words and art that showed feelings, but they did not have stories the way humans did. They did not make up things that never happened. Danny would sit in the healing hall in the evenings, and people would come to listen. He told them about heroes who saved worlds. He told them about ordinary people who did great things. He told them about love and loss and hope and fear. This is not real, Vara said one night after Danny finished a story. These people never lived. These things never happened. No, Danny agreed. But they could have. That is the point of stories. They show us who we might become. And these humans in your stories, they fight a lot. Danny smiled, but it was a sad smile. Yes, we fight a lot. We have hurt each other many times. We have done terrible things. He paused. But we have also done amazing things. Every time we fall down, we get back up. Every time we fail, we try again. That is what makes us human. Vareth did not fully understand, but she felt something when Danny spoke. She felt something new and strange in her chest. Later, she would learn that the feeling was called hope. Mara spent more time with Danny than anyone else. She had been his first healer, and she felt responsible for him. But it was more than that. She liked him. She liked his strange jokes and his loud laugh. She liked the way he never complained, even when he was in pain. She liked the way he looked at the world, as if every problem was just a puzzle waiting to be solved. Tell me about Earth, she said one day. They were sitting on the roof of the healing hall, watching the purple sun go down. Earth is home, Danny said. It is where humans come from. It is not perfect. We have made many mistakes there, but it is beautiful. It has blue oceans and green forests and mountains that touch the sky. Do you miss it? Sometimes. But I have been away for a long time. I have seen many worlds. Sometimes I think that home is not a place. Home is where you feel safe. Home is where people care about you. Nareth thought about this? Then Kethsora is your home now. Danny looked at her. His blue eyes were soft. Maybe it is. But the peace did not last. On the 42nd day since Danny arrived, the long-range sensors found something. 3 ships, very far away, at the edge of the star system. They were big. They were coming fast. Danny was in the engineering room when Kethis showed him the readings. His face went white. Korath dreadnoughts, he said. His voice was hollow. They found me. You are sure? I am sure. I know those ships. I have seen them before. Danny put his hands on the table to steady himself. He was shaking. They are coming for me. They will kill anyone who gets in their way. The news spread through the city like fire. The Valari gathered in the great hall beneath the central tower. 200 people, representing every family in Kethsora, sat in circles around the speaking stone. They were afraid. They had never faced anything like this. Danny stood before them. He was still weak from his injuries, but he made himself stand straight. I am sorry, he said. I brought this on you. I did not mean to, but I did. He took a deep breath. There is only one way to save your city. I will surrender myself. I will go to them. I will tell them that you did not know who I was. Maybe they will believe me. Maybe they will leave you alone. And what will they do to you? Nareth asked. Her voice was small. Danny did not answer. He did not need to. Everyone knew what the Korath did to their enemies. The hall was silent. People looked at each other. No one knew what to say. Then Vorith stood up. She was old, and standing was hard for her, but she stood anyway. "No," she said. Danny blinked. "What?" I said. "No. You came to us for help. You were dying, and we chose to save you. That choice means something. It must mean something, or we are nothing." "You do not understand," Danny said. "The Korath do not talk. They do not make deals. If you fight them, they will destroy this city. They will kill everyone." "Maybe," Vorith said. "But there are things more important than survival. There is honor. There is loyalty. There is the choice to be kind when being cruel would be easier." She turned to face the assembly. Her voice grew stronger. "I have lived for 200 years. I have never known war. I have never wanted war. But I know this. If we give up Danny Cole, we do not save ourselves. We lose ourselves. We become people who would trade an innocent life for our own comfort. I will not be that person. I will not let us become that people." She looked around the hall, meeting eyes one by one. "The Korath will come. They will demand that we give up the human. If we do, we keep our bodies but we lose our souls. I say we stand. I say we fight. I say we show the universe what the Valari truly are." The silence stretched out. Then, slowly, one person stood up. "We stand," said Darath. Another person stood. "We stand," said Kethis. Then Nerith. Then another. Then another. One by one, every person in the hall rose to their feet. Their voices joined together like a song. "We stand. We stand. We stand." Danny stared at them. His eyes were wet. His hands were shaking. "You are all going to die for me," he said. "Why? I am nobody. I am just one person." Vorith walked to him. She was old and small, but in that moment, she seemed very tall. She put one of her 4 hands on his shoulder. "Because you would do the same for us," she said. "You told me so yourself. You said that when you found someone dying, you would help. Every time." She smiled. "We are the same, Danny Cole. We are not so different after all." Danny could not speak. He tried, but no words came out. So instead, he just nodded. Outside the hall, the stars were bright and cold. Somewhere out there, 3 warships were getting closer every minute. The storm was coming, but the city of Kethsora would not run. They would stand against the storm, and they would stand together. The 3 Korath warships were huge. Each one was as long as the entire city of Kethsora. They blocked out the sky like dark clouds made of metal. Their commander was called Krathfire. He was a warlord who had conquered many worlds. He had killed thousands of people. He had never lost a battle, and he did not expect to lose this one. He opened communications with the city below. His voice boomed through every speaker in Kethsora. "People of this world, you have something that belongs to me. The human called Danny Cole. He attacked my ships. He killed my soldiers. He ran away like a coward. I want him back." There was a pause. "Give him to me now, and your city will not be destroyed. Refuse, and I will burn you all to ash. You have 1 minute to decide." In the council chamber, Vorith looked at Danny. He was pale but steady. "Last chance," he said quietly. "You can still give me up." "No," Vorith said. She turned to the communication panel. "This is Elder Vorith of Kethsora. We know who Danny Cole is. We know what he did. He defended himself against your attack. He killed soldiers who were trying to kill him. He did nothing wrong. Wrong?" Krathvayor laughed. It was an ugly sound. "There is no wrong. There is no right. There is only power. You have none. I have all of it. Maybe, Vareth said. But we also have something you do not have. We have the courage to do what is right, even when we are afraid. Even when we know we might fail. Danny Cole is under our protection. If you want him, you will have to come and take him. She cut the connection. The first attack came seconds later. Fire poured from the sky. The Korath ships launched missiles and energy beams at the city. The ground shook. The air burned. It was the most terrible thing any of the Velari had ever seen. But the crystal shield held the beams and missiles hit the invisible barrier that surrounded the city. They exploded against it in great bursts of light. The crystal towers that powered the shield sang with the effort, turning the enemy fire into harmless sound and color. Shields at 80%, Kethis reported from the control room. They are holding. Danny let out a breath. He did not know he was holding. The first part of the plan was working. Krath-VO was not pleased. He watched the failed attack from his command bridge with cold eyes. What is this? Why are our weapons not working? Some kind of shield, Commander, said his tactical officer. We have never seen anything like it. Then go through it. Send the ground troops. I want that city taken by nightfall. Transport ships launched from the 3 dreadnoughts. They carried hundreds of Korath soldiers, each one bigger and stronger than any Velari. They wore heavy armor and carried weapons that could cut through stone. They landed outside the shield and began marching toward the city. This was what Danny had prepared for. The land around Kethsora was full of canyons and narrow paths. The Korath could not attack from everywhere at once. They had to go through the passes, where the ground was rough and the walls were high. And in those passes, the Velari were waiting. Nareth led a group of 10 fighters in the eastern canyon. They were hidden among the rocks, watching the enemy come. Her heart was beating so fast she thought it might break through her chest. Remember what Danny said, she whispered to her team. Hit them and move. Do not try to fight head-on. Make them scared. Make them slow. The first Korath soldiers came into view. They were huge, covered in black armor that made them look like walking nightmares. They moved with the confidence of creatures who had never been beaten. Nareth gave the signal. Crystal shards flew from hidden positions. They hit the Korath soldiers with enough force to crack their armor. Some soldiers fell. Others stumbled, confused by the attack from enemies they could not see. Move! Nareth shouted. Her team ran to new positions before the Korath could shoot back. The same thing happened in every canyon. The Velari struck and ran. They were not strong enough to beat the Korath in open battle, but they did not need to be. They just needed to slow them down. The Korath advance became a crawl. For every step forward, they paid in blood. The soldiers started to look over their shoulders. They started to hesitate before going around corners. Fear was doing what strength could not. Krathvar watched the battle reports with growing anger. This is impossible, he growled. They are farmers and teachers. They have no army. How are they doing this? The human, his officer said. He must be leading them. One human against the Korath Dominion? Humans are dangerous, Commander. The stories say, I do not care about stories. Krathvar slammed his fist on the console. Send in everyone? All troops. All vehicles. All air support. I want that city burning before the sun sets. The second wave was much bigger than the first. Thousands of soldiers, supported by tanks and flying machines. They hit the Velari lines like a hammer hitting glass. The defenders were pushed back. No matter how hard they fought, there were too many enemies. The canyons that had protected them became traps as Korath soldiers poured in. From every direction, Danny watched from the control tower. The screen showed red dots everywhere, and those dots were getting closer to the city center. We are losing, Kethis said quietly. Another hour, maybe two, and they will be inside. How are the shields? Failing. We do not have enough power. When they fall, the ships will bomb us from above. Danny closed his eyes. He had known this moment might come. The moment when bravery was not enough. The moment when clever plans ran out. The moment when everything seemed hopeless. He opened his eyes. Then we give them something they do not expect, he said. Something they cannot prepare for. What do you mean? Danny did not answer right away. He was thinking. His mind was racing through possibilities, looking for any option, any chance. Then he found one. The resonance frequency, he said. The one we used for the shields. Can we broadcast it directly? Not as a shield, but as a weapon. Kethis thought about it. Maybe, if we focused all our power into one burst, we could send a wave that would disrupt any electronic system within range. What about the Korath ships? If they were close enough, yes. Their systems would fail. Their shields, their weapons, their engines, everything. How close? Kethis did the calculations in his head. Very close. The ship would have to be almost touching the ground. Danny nodded slowly. A plan was forming in his mind. It was a terrible plan. It was probably a stupid plan. But it was the only plan he had. I need a shuttle, he said. Something that can fly. Something fast. We have repair vehicles. They can fly short distances. That will work. Danny turned to face Kethis. His eyes were hard. I am going to do something. Something dangerous. I need you to promise me that when I give the signal, you will fire the resonance wave at full power. No matter what. Danny, what are you planning? Promise me. Kethis looked at the human. He saw something in Danny's face. Something that scared him. I promise, he said. Danny put his hand on the engineer's shoulder. Thank you. For everything. Tell Vorith. Tell her I am sorry I could not do more. Before Kethis could ask what he meant, Danny was gone. Danny flew the small repair vehicle through the smoke and fire of battle. The machine was not built for combat. It shook and rattled with every explosion nearby. But it flew, and that was all Danny needed. He opened the communication channel to the Korath flagship. Krathveo, this is Danny Cole, the human you have been hunting. I want to make a deal. There was silence. Then the warlord's voice came through, full of cruel interest. The human wants to talk? This should be amusing. Speak. I will surrender myself. I will come to your ship. In exchange, you leave the city alone. You take me and go. Why would you do this? Your little friends are protecting you, because they are dying for me, and I cannot let that happen anymore. Danny made his voice sound tired and defeated. I thought they could protect me. I was wrong. I just want this to end. Another pause. Krathville was thinking. Danny could almost hear the gears turning in the warlord's mind. How do I know this is not a trick? You do not know. But what do you have to lose? I am one human in a broken flying machine. Your ship has shields and weapons and thousands of soldiers. If I try anything, you can kill me before I get close. More silence. Then Krathverl laughed. Very well, human. Come to my ship. Try anything foolish, and I will destroy you and the city both. Understood. Danny flew toward the flagship. It hung in the sky like a mountain of black metal, blocking out the stars. As he got closer, he could see the gun turrets tracking his movement. One wrong move and he would be dust. But he did not make any wrong moves. He flew straight and slow, right to the landing bay. Korath soldiers were waiting for him, weapons ready. They grabbed him the moment he stepped out of the vehicle and dragged him through the ship. The inside of the flagship was dark and cold. Metal walls covered in strange writing. Korath soldiers everywhere, watching him with eyes full of hate. Danny memorized every turn, every door, every detail. He did not know if the information would matter, but he gathered it anyway. That was what humans did. They brought him to the bridge. It was a huge room filled with screens and controls. In the center, on a throne made of black metal, sat HFY. The warlord was massive. 3 times bigger than Danny, covered in thick scales and old scars. His eyes were red like fire, and his teeth were like knives. "So," HFY said, "the little human who killed my ships. You do not look like much." "I'm not much," Danny said. "Just a pilot who was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And yet you destroyed 3 of my cruisers. You escaped when no one escapes. You made these pathetic creatures fight for you." HFY leaned forward. "Perhaps you are more than you seem. Or perhaps your ships were weaker than you thought." HFY's eyes narrowed. For a moment, Danny thought the warlord would kill him right there. But then HFY laughed. "I like you, human. You have courage. It is a shame I have to kill you." He gestured to his officers. "Prepare to execute him. Make it slow. I want the recording to send to his people as a warning." The soldiers moved toward Danny. This was the moment. Now or never. Danny pulled something from his pocket. It was a small crystal, wrapped in wire, glowing with energy. He had built it in secret over the past 2 days, using pieces from his crashed ship and technology from the city. "Do you know what this is?" Danny asked. HFY frowned. "A rock? It is a resonance bomb. I built it myself. When I activate it, it will send out a wave that will destroy every electronic system on this ship. Your shields, your weapons, your engines, everything. You are bluffing. Maybe. Want to find out?" The soldiers stopped. They looked at HFY. They looked at the glowing crystal in Danny's hand. Nobody moved. "If you do that, you will die too," HFY said slowly. "Probably. But here's the thing about humans." Danny smiled. It was not a nice smile. "We are really good at sacrifice. We will throw ourselves into the fire if it means saving the people we love." He raised the crystal. "You wanted to know how a city of peaceful people held off your army? It is because they learned from me. They learned that some things are more important than survival. They learned that kindness is worth dying for." HFY's face twisted with rage. "Kill him." The soldiers rushed forward. Danny pressed the button on the crystal dot. The wave hit the ship like a giant hand. Every light went out. Every screen went dark. Every machine stopped working. The flagship began to fall from the sky, pulled down by gravity with no engines to hold it up. In the darkness, Danny fought. He was one man against hundreds. He had no weapons except his fists and his will. He should not have lasted 10 seconds. He lasted 10 minutes. He used the confusion to his advantage. He moved through the dark ship, fighting anyone who got in his way. He broke things. He damaged systems. He made the chaos worse. When the chorus finally stopped him, he had destroyed the navigation controls, killed the bridge crew, and sent a feedback pulse through the communication network that disabled 2 of the other ships. He was lying on the floor of the bridge, broken and bleeding, when the flagship hit the ground. On the surface, the Valari watched in shock as the massive warship came down. It crashed beyond the hills with an impact that shook the world. A few seconds later, the other 2 dreadnoughts also began to fall, their systems destroyed by the pulse Danny had triggered. Nara saw it happen from her position in the eastern canyon. For a moment, she did not understand. Then she did. "Danny," she whispered, "what did you do?" The battle ended quickly after that. The Kara soldiers on the ground were cut off from their ships, confused and leaderless. Some tried to keep fighting, but they were surrounded by Valari, who no longer had any fear. Others surrendered. By sunset, it was over. The city of Kethsora had won, but Nareth did not celebrate. She ran toward the crashed flagship, leading a team of healers. They dug through the wreckage for hours, searching for any sign of Danny. They found him just before dawn. He was buried under a pile of metal, barely alive. His body was broken in more places than Nareth could count, but his heart was still beating, stubborn and defiant, refusing to give up. "Danny," Nareth said, tears running down her face. "Why? You could have escaped. You could have run. Why did you sacrifice yourself?" Danny opened his eyes. They were clouded with pain, but there was something else in them too. Something like peace. "Because you saved me," he whispered. "Not just my body, my soul. I was lost before I came here. I had given up on people. I had given up on kindness." He coughed, and blood came up with it. "You showed me that I was wrong. You showed me that kindness is real, that it is worth fighting for, worth dying for." "You are not going to die," Nareth said fiercely. "We are going to save you, just like we saved you before." "I know," Danny said. And somehow, against all odds, he smiled. "I know you will." They carried him back to the city. The healers worked for 3 days and 3 nights without rest. They used every technique they had learned, every piece of knowledge they had gained from treating Danny before. It was the hardest fight they had ever fought, but Danny Cole was the stubbornest human who had ever lived. And slowly, impossibly, he began to heal. The news of the battle spread across the galaxy. A city of peaceful people had defeated a Karth fleet. A single human had brought down a dreadnought from the inside. The empire that everyone feared had been beaten. Within a year, other worlds began to rise against the Karth. Within 10 years, the Dominion had fallen apart completely. The great evil that had terrorized the galaxy for so long was finally gone, and it had all started with one simple choice. The choice to help a dying stranger. When Danny was strong enough to walk again, Vareth came to see him. "What will you do now?" she asked. "Will you return to your people? Will you continue exploring the stars?" Danny looked out the window at the purple sky and the crystal towers. He looked at the people walking below, the people who had fought for him, who had nearly died for him. "I think I will stay," he said, "if you will have me." Voreth smiled. It was the first time Danny had ever seen her smile. "You are one of us now. Danny Cole, you are Valari." "And you," Danny said, taking her hand, "are the most human people I have ever met." Outside, the sun was rising over Kethsora. The crystal towers caught its light and turned it into colors that had no names. Children played in the streets. Healers tended to the wounded. Builders began repairing the damage from the battle. Life went on. Different now. Changed forever. But still beautiful. Still worth protecting. And at the heart of it all, one human and one city stood together. They had faced the storm. They had won, not because they were the strongest, not because they had the best weapons, but because they had chosen to be kind, because they had refused to give up, because they had learned that the smallest light can push back the greatest darkness. That was the lesson Danny Cole taught the Valari. That was the gift they gave back to the galaxy. And that was why, for generations to come, travelers would tell the story of the city that sheltered one human and stood against the storm. The end.